You know what that leads into perfectly our NFL pick.
I'm sure I'm a piece of garbage.
Yeah,
I'm
you
sure.
are a piece of garbage. Our NFL picks. Moving on to NFL betting picks for Week 4. I'm 1 for 2 last week. I'm still in the lead at 5-4 and 55% correct. Sean is tragically terrible. 1-2, 3-5-1 on the season, 33% correct. My first pick's the Saints plus 2.5 versus the Falcons. I think that the Saints team has some legs to succeed this season. I think the Falcons are going to be down on themselves after the bad loss that they suffered against the Chiefs, and everybody's
Reigning champs lost by 5.
all hot and high on them because
Miss PI in the end zone also.
they were close with the Chiefs and all that stuff. No, give me the Saints to win this game.
It's a fine bet. You don't hate your team the way I do. You have hope and are optimistic somehow.
No. You are a Falcons fan by choice because you liked Michael Vick. You are not the same level of in the shit as I am.
Oh,
I
brother.
don't want to hear it.
No. I'm not having this with you. I've watched every single game possible.
The 28-3 loss is not worse than the Alabama Notre Dame national championship game. It's not even close.
Oh,
it's not even close.
You're a crazy person.
It's not even close.
You're a crazy person.
Don't even do this to me.
Hey, this is an insane asylum.
It's not an insane asylum.
Nurse Ratchet, Joe is off his meds. If you got that reference, you would have maybe given
what's
it a
your what's your first?
It's a fine pick. I think the Saints roll Atlanta, especially because Atlanta's breaking out their sweet throwbacks.
Don't patronize me.
I'm not. I hate the Falcons, and I can't stop rooting for them, and it sucks. My first pick, Steelers giving 1 versus the Colts, is basically a pick 'em, basically free money. It's in a game, Joe, where neither quarterback is going to separate from the pack and take over. What should you look towards? I would say who has the better head coach, who has the better defense, and who has the better run game. Some people may even bring up the special teams. I don't care about that. Boswell's better than whatever kickers in Indy. Simply, Mike Tomlin is the better coach than Shane Steichen. The Steelers have the best defense.
Like that?
The Steelers have the best defense in the league, giving up 230 yards per game and only have given up 2 touchdowns in 3 games. The Colts defense, second to last in yards per game at 398. That is insane. It is awful. They've given up 6 touchdowns in the year. And for the run game, it's dead even. The Colts have 2 more rush yards on the season than the Steelers. So it all maths up. It all works out for the Steelers, a better team than the Colts, to beat them by at least 1 point. It's a good bet.
I was going to take this one originally, but go Colts. Ravens, money line versus the Bills. Back up against the wall for the Ravens. They need to dig themselves out of it the current moment. They need this win. And I know that the Bills are hot. I know that they're super hot right now after the game that they had against the Jaguars. But I think that this is where you lay an egg type of a game. You know, where you're all confident in yourself. You're totally feeling yourself. I think the Ravens can pull this one out.
I don't know, man. The Bills are running the hell out of the ball.
They need to win way more than the Bills do.
The Bills are trying to make a Josh Allen MVP season happen. And it's looking like it through 3 games. If he can win the MVP for the first 4, then he could run away with it as long as he doesn't dupe his britches in the next 8 games. He's good enough. I think that you could sell me on either side of this, but if we're making a betting pick, I am not having this involved in any shape or form.
All right, what's your next one?
Cowboys giving 6 versus the Giants. I mean, come on. Does anyone think that the Giants team are going to beat the Cowboys? Does anyone think that it's going to come down to a field goal versus this team? Be real. The Cowboys have the most passing yards in the NFL. The Giants have the 22nd most. Good quarterback, bad quarterback. The Giants are also allowing a QB completion percentage of 70. What does Dak Prescott like to do? Throw that thing around. And I know that he's going to have some receivers that are open. Let's just do the math. Dak's going to throw for 400 yards, and the Cowboys will stomp them out. I'm not rooting for it. I think the NFC East is soft this year. They're much weaker than expected. But Cowboys 6, Giants nothing. It could end up like that.
It's a terrible way to end that analysis, but the Giants are god-awful. So
Yeah.
them laying an egg on Thursday Night Football to the degree that the Patriots just did and the Dolphins just did, totally feasible. My last one, Bengals -4 versus the Panthers. Talk about another team that has their back up against the wall, needing a big win. They're off to a super slow start. They need to pick themselves up off the mat. 4 points for them to cover. You're starting to see that they're getting their legs back. And more importantly, I said this last week when you bet against the Panthers. First game with a new quarterback in that's taking over for the starter, and there's a benching. They're always super hyped up, and there's always some crazy stuff that happens.
Yeah.
But everything comes back to reality. Everybody remembers what planet they're from. So Bengals -4.
I worry about Andy Dalton return to versus Cincinnati. I worry about the Bengals.
He's been out of Cincinnati for like a million years.
He's still the golden boy there. Pre-Burrow, it was a mess, and everybody wanted Dalton.
I don't think anyone in Cincinnati could give two shits about.
I think they cared about him last week, seeing what he was doing to the Raiders, and then watching the Bengals lose to the Commanders.
I don't think they care. All right, what's your last one?
My final pick: Chiefs giving 9 versus the Chargers. Sean, you're a crazy person. The Chiefs beat the Falcons by 5, and the Chargers have Harbaugh and a completely new identity. I get it. The Chiefs are a tank, though. I believe in Harbaugh and Harbaugh ball, but there's too much adversity for them this week. Let's talk about, real quickly, the NFL giving Derwin James a 1-game suspension before they play the Chiefs just because Derwin James was playing football on the field. Oh my God. Thank you, Derwin James, for trying to hold up the standard of a safety that likes to tackle and hit. Unbelievable. Derwin James also, historically, the Travis Kelce stopper. He suplexed him. It was awesome in front of the world. He covers him well. One of the few that could when Kelce still had his prime legs. So now they're going to float in backup safety. And this is when we see Kelce return to prominence. 3-touchdown game. All of that. That's what's going to happen. Additionally, Justin Herbert banged up with a high ankle sprain, so he might not even play. So that leaves the Chargers with Taylor Heineke or Easton Stick, which means the Chargers are just going to run the rock, and the Chiefs have a great run defense. They've only allowed 1 rush over 20 yards all season, and it was 20 yards. We saw that this defense, if you're playing a one-dimensional offense like Atlanta, they can shut it down. Chiefs by 9.